trolley should be going when I turn this switch. It's not plugged in. There we go. Okay, let's have it go this way. Oh, that was fast. It definitely crashed on the end. No, it crashed into the city court building. So if you watched my last video, I briefly talked about this back section of the city and what I was planning to do with my train. One of my ideas was to have more of a trolley look rather than a classic train. I immediately thought of this new beach trolley set. Someone commented on my last video and said there actually used to be this kind of a trolley thing in New York City back in the day. I'll throw that comment up. Thank you for commenting this, because that made me decide, like, yeah, I should do more of a trolley look. So thank you again for that comment. I do read all my comments and I take all these suggestions into account when working on my city. It was a little bit tricky to motorize this thing, but after experimenting for a while, I finally got it to integrate with this 9-volt track. And I think it speaks for itself. It looks great zooming around this area. The beach trolley just works so good here, and I love the bright colors. I think it was definitely a good idea to have some movement in this back part of the city, and the trolley is perfect for that. Let me turn it off as it gets to our station here. Hope I can time it right. Good enough. I have this Bricklink train station. If you're not familiar, that's what it looks like. And I actually decided I want to have it on this area, so I'm yet to push it out of the way. I'm yet to change the road plates. You know, I got to cut this out and make it so the train station platform can be right up against the tracks. But I want to have the train station be like the big legit stop, and then along this sidewalk here, do some smaller trolley stops. Overall, I'm really loving this thing. I think having it motorized and being able to just like turn on whenever is gonna be great. However, there is a really big problem with this trolley, a trolley problem, if you will. And the problem is actually right here on all of our 4 corners. If you don't know, it is very hard to tile over train track. I'll put up some examples of ways people have integrated train track with road plates. I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of any of these looks. The issue is, it looks like a 2x4 tile would fit in between each of these areas and it'd just be super easy to tile over this whole thing, but it's not. A 2x4 tile can't fit perfectly in any of these. It's too small, like barely too small for any pieces to go in there. So if you want your corner train track to be tiled over, it's really not gonna look much better than any of these examples. And I'm looking for a very polished look. So I got a box from Trixs bricks, and this is gonna perfectly solve our issue, hopefully. I'm not sponsored by these guys or anything like that. They just had a really good solution to our train track problem. And you can sort of see what that's going to look like. It's 3D printed parts that go along perfectly with a corner train track and should cover it nicely. Now look, I know not everyone's a fan of like non-Lego alternatives. Some people probably would rather have me just tile it with normal Lego pieces. To me, this is a really good solution, and you might disagree, but I think when you see it fully tiled over with these pieces, you might change your mind a little bit. The first thing we gotta do is actually put tiles underneath all of the train track, and then we can start to put on our Trixs bricks train parts. All right, we have the underneath part of our train track tiled. I did this kind of willy-nilly. There's no real pattern to it. I just tried to have it tiled like roughly wherever there was one of these, and I don't know, I feel like it sits pretty well. So we should be good to start integrating our Trixs brick stuff. So we got a bag full of these longer pieces, which I think fit over the top here. And then we have these like jagged side pieces, which should fill in the sides. Come on, come on, come on. Here we go. I did just have a thought. Maybe I should have like looked at their instructions for this thing, because hopefully I won't have to retile all of this. I guess we'll see. I don't know much about Trixs bricks, but it looks to me like they're the place to go to for train stuff. Like some of these options are crazy, like a triple switch track, the monster crossover, compact corner, double slip switch. Like this looks crazy. And if I were like a big train person, I would probably love these guys. Because the thing is, Lego train track is pretty limiting. Like you basically have corners, straight track, and then they have like one switch track. But man, the stuff you could create with all these combinations is insane. But I don't need any of that. I'm just gonna make my thing look nice. So we got our Trick Bricks 3D printed stuff over the track, and I don't know about you, but I think this looks pretty awesome. You can kind of see how there's just no way you could ever perfectly cover any of these gaps with Lego pieces, because it's just such a slight gradual thing. But wow, they nailed it. Like when this is tiled all around, this is gonna look perfect. I mean, you can't see like any gaps in here. I love it. Again, just to clarify, I'm not sponsored. I just came across this because I wanted to solve this problem, and I genuinely think it's really cool. They have a video available on like how to assemble all of this, but I kind of just poured out the bag, started putting them along, and I was able to figure out which ones go where to fill in this curve. But yeah, I think this looks 10 times better than any of those solutions I showed you before. This is perfect. However, I did mess up. Remember when I did a giant montage placing tons of these tiles underneath it? Well, apparently that wasn't necessary. I don't know if it'll come across on camera, but if you look from this edge here, you can see how they're poking up slightly, and I think that's because it's not supposed to have flat pieces under it. It's just supposed to be level with the base plates. So yeah, my bad. I do remember them tiling underneath this in the tutorial, but I think theirs were like a plate higher than mine, so it totally makes sense. So now I have to peel up this track and get rid of all those tiles, and I think we should be good. So that means it's montage time, baby. So I kind of hate myself. I looked at this cross section of train track here, and I'm now realizing there are tiles or plates underneath this train track. So I did have it at the right level. I think it's that these are meant for a road plate that's like a plate taller. So even though I just removed all those tiles, I don't think that's gonna solve our problem. I think that's just something that we can't fix. I think I'm gonna have to retile. I won't video that though, because I've already shown you that like twice now. But we'll put it back and we'll see if it fixes anything. I don't think it will though. Why am I such an idiot? Lego's the only thing I do, and I still mess up every single time. Already, I don't think this is working out. Basically, that kind of gap with these 3D printed parts being taller than the road is still there. And actually now our train track just isn't level with the rest of the train track, which I think might throw this off. Let's test that actually. Let's have it go this way. Oh, that was fast. It definitely crashed on the end. No, it crashed into the city court building. Let me just rescue that real quick. All right, let's try that again. Maybe it's a little lighter this time. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought would happen, because now the train track is going a plate lower. It's gonna throw it off, because having to kind of like go down and climb a hill every time it goes around. So that's the fun part of Lego. Nothing ever works right the first time. Well, I guess actually in this case it did work right, and then I made it bad again. So yeah, I'm gonna retile that whole thing. And the best part is, like, I've only done this corner so far. I'm gonna have to do, 3 more corners after this. But let's get it back to how it should be. I guess we're gonna have a slight, like, taller tiling here, which I don't super mind. I think it'll be fine. I think this end result of it looking so clean is gonna be worth it. But I don't know if all this tiling is gonna be worth it. So now we need to make every corner look like this. I've tiled under all of the train track that needs it on these corners, including this intersection, which I think will be really interesting because we obviously like want to keep the road part of it. So I'll have to fill in sidewalk like over there, here, 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 and hopefully it'll still kind of work as a road. But I got our last 3 bags, 1 for each corner, and we're just gonna go place them all and see how it looks. So now we have all of these pieces on every corner, and I think it looks amazing. I did have to tear up part of the sidewalk to put the transformer not on the corner. We'll have to do something about that. But I love the look of this. I mean, again, we still have to do like sidewalk and continue the road to integrate with these. So we still have a lot of tile work to do, but I think you can get an idea of just how smooth this is gonna look, and already how much better it looked than what was there before. But that is the nice part, that all the edges are kind of squared off, because now when we're tiling, it should integrate really easily, and I think it's gonna be not so bad. But we do have one final test, and that's to see if our trolley still operates with these corners and pieces that we have not had in this area before, so let's give it a try. All right, moment of truth. And it looks like we're good. So yeah, I really love the way this is looking. I'll do another update when this is fully tiled, when we have our train station up against the edge there. Having movement in New York City is key this time around. My old layout didn't really have anything that moved. It had a few things you could like hand crank, but the idea of just being able to hopefully be able to turn on all the lights, have the trains all going, I think it's gonna be really awesome. So this is a great start. I really like the 9-volt old style of train as opposed to the new ones that have a remote, because it can go on. So if we have this power source plugged into what we hook our lights into, we can click a button on our phone and it'll just turn on and this thing will start going. And I think that's really cool because, again, I wouldn't want to break out the remote and turn this to the right speed and get it looping for a while and then do that for every other train in our city. Realistically, I just probably wouldn't fire up all the trains that often, but the ease of this is really cool. Probably gonna try to hide the transformer under the table, but yeah, I love having a trolley. Thank you again to the person who commented and told me like I could still do this idea because they used to have a trolley, and in my city like we could just act like it never went away, and I love it. Hopefully you're happy with the result of this. There's, you know, modifications I could do to the trolley if we want it to be like accurate colors to old New York trolleys, but personally I think it's really solid. And as far as I know, I'm the first person to actually like motorize this beach trolley and do something cool like this with it. Here's our leftover parts with our Trixs bricks. I think these are meant to go like somewhere over here if you're wanting to continue that. They gave us a little tiny railroad track that says Trixs bricks. I thought that was pretty cool. I would highly recommend this. Again, I'm not sponsored, so I have no reason to like recommend them if I didn't believe in them. I think this is sweet. Trixs bricks, if you want to reach out to me and sponsor me, that'd be awesome, and I'll just incorporate a lot more train track type things in my city. But seriously, I think this was the way to go. I think this was the solution to have like perfectly flat gaps filled in for all of our corner train tracks. So I love the look of this. Comment what you think below. If you think this was the way to go. If you hate it, let me know. So I'll be honest, this is the kind of work that I usually do just completely off camera, or maybe that I would do as like a small TikTok. But I'm really trying to be more active here on YouTube, so I'm gonna do a lot more videos like this where I show you like the whole process of something from start to finish. So subscribe so you can follow me on my Lego New York City journey, comment things you want me to add and actually see me add them. I want my YouTube to be a really interactive thing where the things you're telling me to do actually happen, and it's sort of like we're building this city together. And if you're not a big city guy, but you just love trains and that's why you clicked on this video, we still have to add our elevated train, our subway train. There's potentially room for even more train type things. I'm working on a moving Roosevelt Island tram, which you might have seen in part of this video in the background. And I have some other ideas of how we're gonna incorporate movement into our Lego New York City. So stay tuned, I'm gonna try to do a lot more videos like this so you can really be with me for the process of building this whole city. Comment what you think about our trolley and how we solved our trolley problem, had everything smoothed out. And I'll make an update video when all the corners and roads are completely finished with this whole trolley area. But thank you so much for watching. There it goes. And stay tuned for the next video. It's pretty cool, huh? Also, Trixs Bricks, this was just a sample. Please sponsor me.